What is going on, TEC? TNT here, bringing you the mid-season special with Vanilla, TG, Scorpion, JK, and Flip. So basically, we're just going to be talking about what we've seen in the season. And at first, we're all just going to talk briefly on our own. Then we're going to have a discussion, and hopefully, it'll be a fun time and entertaining. So again, if any takes here are our takes, they are not to be taken personally or even that literally. We're just doing this for fun and to give you all something to watch. All right, with that, I will pass it on to Nilla, who is first.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Vanilla here, and this is pretty exciting. As you guys know, TNT's been making videos going through everything that's been happening week by week for TEC, and it's pretty cool now. All of us have at least featured in his video in a battle or so, and now we're all here getting to talk about the season so far. So that's super cool. Um, I guess for me, one of the cool things that's been happening this year or this season is there are a lot of new names across all the divisions, and I've made a lot of cool new friends and gotten closer with building across multiple divisions, which is something that I think in a lot of other leagues you don't see a lot of cross division community, but I definitely think in TC you get that. Like I've built with Flip. I've shown stuff to TG and other people in lower divisions and everything, which is a really big deal for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty exciting. Um, as far as my own personal experience in the season, I can talk mostly about Aegis Slash, obviously, because that's the division I'm part of. Um, and it's pretty surprising, I won't lie. So last season for me was a pretty, I would say, average season. I think I went 3-5 with a couple losses to forfeits, or no, one loss to forfeit. So it's about an even. But seeing the competition continue to move up this season um, is really cool, especially since I've definitely improved. I've gotten to play a lot of better players that you probably wouldn't have been able to stack up to, along with hanging around with some other really good players that came up from Doublade, like Max and Namdu. And then we also had Serena as a kill leader, which we'll get to later, but that was amazing. I want to comment on that really fast. In Doublade, I was actually really excited for Doublade because at the beginning of the season, I actually had made a prediction that Flip and TG were going to be the best two coaches in the entire league, and right now they're sitting at first and second, with TG being 5-0 and Flip being 4-1 with his only loss to TG. So I'm winning pretty big there, and that's really cool. There are also a bunch of new names in Dual Blade that I don't remember seeing last season, like I commented on before. So that's awesome. Just getting more people involved, along with the promotees, which is really cool. In Honedge was really good because there was a lot of cool things that I mean, I don't know if you saw on my channel, but on my channel we kind of started this Honedge moment thing where we go through Honedge games. We kind of talk about what's going on, and it's cool because I think a lot of times, or I know for sure in the past seasons, I didn't really go through the other lower division games too much because I was just focused on my division. I step back. I've learned stuff from watching Honedge games, cool sets that I want to implement, things that I think were imperfect but I think have really good potential. Um, and of course, it's probably the most entertaining division for plethora of reasons. But these 3 seasons or these 3 divisions, I would say, and this season is really, really, really exciting. Everyone is, you can tell everyone's really trying to make it at least an entertaining season and just have fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say individually. I'm going to pass it on to JK, who is the other Aegis Slash representative of this video. Take it away.
What's up, guys? It's JK, Orange's right hand man and the worst mod on the mod team. And I'm here mostly to talk about potential comebacks and also surprises. And first, you got the Aegis Slash division. And I would say the biggest surprise in Aegis Slash division is Prisoners 2-2 at -4. And I mean, I guess he's not really known to be one of the best drafters, which is probably why. But the team itself It's kind of funny. So we can go through it. Mega Scizor, Deoxyspeed, Urshifu R, Weavile, Heatran, and I guess Prison's bad start has contributed to the very wild start of Aegislash, with Raccoon being 4-0 and Nilla being, I think, 4-1 right now at the top of the league. And that's kind of contributed to a lot of parity, and also new face coming in sixth place right now at JTK at 3-2. Also, Yook bouncing back to be 3-1. And Prison giving Namdu their first win at 1-4, which is probably the most surprising win of the season. While Hacks involved, it's like a really big thing for Nam to get the first win against probably one of the best coaches in the division, even though he's not playing like it right now. Props to Nilla for being 4-1. Another surprise to be at the top of the league right now, especially if Raccoon loses. Props to Orn for bouncing back from not making playoffs and being 3-1, because you got flamed and we kind of cost you a playoff spot. Also, props to Max for being 2-2 and holding his own in Aegislash after being a promo team. And Orange should go back to forming leagues, because 1-4 -12 is not a good way to start. No, I'm just kidding. On the double lead, I'm very happy to see Flip, a handpicked person by me and Orange, at the second place. TG, we kind of regret not putting you in Aegislash. That's our fault. You're 5-0 and you're running through the division. Not our best moment, but it's alright. Hopefully, sorry to say this, but the diff has to come down just a bit for parity reasons. Also good to see Chimp at 4-1. Even though the differential's not there, another handpicked person, newcomer that comes in. Wolex is 3-2, doing Wolex things, playing every single league. And surprises, I would say, would be Lucifer at 2-3 -2. Abilities usually hold their own somewhat, but I feel like Lucifer can maybe come back in the back half of the season. Also, Jerron being 1-3, that should not happen. Jerron has way too much talent to be 1-3. I'm thinking that's another comeback that's going to happen at the end of the season, or bounce back. Also, Flip is holding his own with a subpar team, which is great because the team has no checks to almost anything, and it's holding its own very, very well. Like, no normal, a bad dark type, and you haven't lost to every ghost type under the sun. That's major props right there. Also holding up your team is a Scizor, which makes sense. And Mega Absol is a bad Mega, and you're still 3-1. That's amazing. That gives straight props to your skill. Next is Honda's division, the most wild division for all the reasons that Nilla covered. And this division, the biggest surprise is obviously Carl, 2-3, was at the top of Honda's last season, I believe, down to 2-3 -3. Also, Tebow time, pretty sure made a big impression in off season is 1-4, but there's plenty of time for comebacks. I think it's 8 weeks. There's still 3 weeks left. 3-4, 4-4 can most definitely sneak in the playoffs. But Hornet is a very, very, very Saturday division. I know I hacked. Then, like, you have right now, I think, 8 teams with 3 wins. That is a lot for the start. Even with 3 teams at 3-2 right now, I feel like this division is going to come down to chaos, especially with TAC being in the 9th seed at 2-2 with a 5 differential. Except for the final thing I want to talk about, is Serena at kill leader. I don't even know how that happened. Stuff sucks. Also, Dragapult is now top 3 in kills in Aegislash at 9 kills. Good job, because the rest of the people with Pult are not showing out and probably are going to demote. That's garbage. Okay, and I'm done. I'm thinking I'm passing it on to Flip is next. And yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Right? What's up? It's your boy. Happy to be here. Thank you for the kind words, Mill and JK. As they've said, this is my first season in the TEC. It was handpicked. Me and Jeroen were handpicked. We both popped off in that one game. They love that replay. I'll get to him later when I go through my big Doublade section. But yeah, it's been a great time. if this is a bit more serious than I'm used to playing, so being able to play like this and prep really in depth every week has been fun. But to kind of go off of what JK was saying with the surprises and the comebacks, I'm going to go in depth in Doublade with those, but I'm just going to cover AG real quick. From what I saw with that, there's a lot of 2-2 records, but I did notice it is the only division where every single coach has a win, so that's pretty dope. It'll be interesting to see if Raccoon can just keep winning. I think he has a couple difficult games coming up, so we'll see if he can keep the win streak alive. But maybe Nilla's incessant team changes will actually carry him to a top seed. Usually, people that go crazy in FAs, their team ends up kind of mid. But we'll see if all of Nilla's changes and how much of a liar he is actually brings him to a top seed. My opinion, because Prison is a main character in an anime, he's going to top cut. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he will find a way to top cut. And you don't want to catch that man's hands in playoffs, so AG, have fun. And some like the big dogs, some of the people that have established a lot of skill in Asia Slash are kind of sitting around the 3 through 6 range. Like you got like Yoke, JK, and Orn just all chilling towards the top of top cut. Well, they're not like top cut, but they're up there. So they I wouldn't want to see them later on in the season when it gets to crunch time and they're ready to pop off. That is going to be pretty interesting. Moving on to Hone Edge, I haven't kept up too much with Hone Edge, but I have definitely noticed a few things. The thing I have noticed is the holy trinity of busted teams in Hone Edge of Schmite, Metal, and Pumpkin. But what I have noticed is that Schmite and Metal are towards the top, and Pumpkin is not. And Pumpkin has one of the most busted teams out of those three. So Pumpkin does have the potential to top cut with that team. Just needs to hold on, win the games, use the teams to the correct, to the ability of what that team is. Those three, if those three aren't playing each other in finals, Honedge is low-key throwing. But it will be interesting to see if some Honedge team with a team that's not as good as theirs can just go crazy and they'll do a lot of upsets and just win. But moving on to Doublade now, I have multiple categories, like people at the top of the league, people that are top cutting, but I've looked at a lot of people's remaining records to see who has more difficult records coming up, who and that's lower seeding wise can play spoiler if they have an interesting team or some good matchups. And I did find some interesting things. So we're gonna start with TG, obviously. That man does not lose, I guess. I haven't even seen him play badly. I don't understand. They definitely trolled not putting in an Asia Slash, but it's okay. Okay. He will lose eventually, or he will lose more than 5 months in a game. I think his worst wins a 2-0, but it's okay. Moving on to other people that are towards the top, I get me. I'm 4-1 now. The WoX game was kind of crazy. We're not going to talk about that, but the Braden game week 1 was also kind of crazy. But my remaining schedule is pretty difficult. My schedule so far has been kind of crazy because I've played TG. Braden is up there. I played him. I played WoX. I'm going to play Pineapple, who's 3rd seed. And I have to play Zach, who has a dangerous team. So my remaining schedule is interesting because I play Pineapple next week, and then Dom, and then I play Zach. So those are definitely two, or I could still lose all 3 of those games, honestly. So that's interesting for me. Pineapple has a really good team. I'd say Pineapple and TG have the 2 best teams in Doublade, and Pineapple's remaining schedule is middle level difficulty. Not much concern there. Definitely expect Pineapple in playoffs in a high seed. Chimp doesn't know how to win a game besides 2-0. We'll see if Chimp can win a game not in 2-0. And their schedule is also middle difficulty, so I would expect Chimp in the playoffs as well. Don't know about the higher seed with that differential, but definitely expect them in the playoffs with record. In the hunt is Braden, Zach, WoX, and Finley. I guess for a higher seed, they're all up there, top cutting as of right now, but that can all change depending on remaining schedule. So Braden has been very consistent since week 1 and seems to have his team figured out. I didn't really take a hard look at his schedule, but Braden has been playing somewhat consistently and seems to be figuring out that pretty dangerous team. So watch out for him. Zach, Rain is doing what Rain does. So he just needs to hold on, maintain his diff, and just keep winning games. He does have a difficult schedule coming up, so I think his next 3 games are kind of difficult. So he needs to win at least one, and he's basically in. WOX just needs to he just needs to WOX. He could definitely top cut. His schedule's a little interesting coming up. He could win all 3, or he could lose all 3. It's really interesting. Finley is close to missing out, and the remaining schedule for them is somewhat difficult. Really, Finley's game against Chimp is going to be standing game for Finley. That's going to be a very important game. If Finley wins that game, Finley is a threat. If Finley does not win, Finley might miss out of playoffs. So that's going to be a big game coming up. 2 coaches out at the moment, Jeroen and Freeze, have the 2 easiest remaining schedules out of all of the remaining coaches. So they have the best potential to run it back. Jeroen especially, like JK said, that man has an insane amount of talent. I've watched him win a league, runner-up in a league, and get 3rd overall in a league with a mono dark team in a non-mono type league. That man's crazy. Do not sleep on him. When he needs to win, he will win, especially when he has a remaining easy schedule like he does. But the most interesting thing I saw was Lucas. Lucas is basically eliminated, but with the way his team is, he has potential to play big-time spoiler. His remaining 3 games are against top-cutting coaches. So he has the potential to mess up a lot of differential with set up the team. So he could 5-0 or 6-0 any of the coaches he's going to play, and honestly just straight up spoil it. Let me just go check real quick who he plays. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he plays Zach, Finley, and Pineapple. So Zach and Finley could miss out of playoffs if they catch a wacky loss to Lucas. So anything can happen. Doublade's going to be pretty close. Seeding, I think 2 through 5 in Doublade is going to be pretty close. Oh, except for TG. So but the thing I saw was that just some coaches have very important identity games coming up that's going to identify how good they are as a coach, at least for this season, and it may just straight up win them the top 10. So yeah, I think I'm passing to Scorp. So take it away, Scorp.
Hello, everybody. It is me, Scorpion of the Hone Edge Division. I'm the only Hone Edge coach doing this. I do want to give a big thanks to TNT and to everybody else here for having me and letting me have the opportunity to speak about how the TEC season has been going so far. I think a good place to start off is at the top division of the entire league, which is going to be Aegis Slash. I think that Aegis Slash definitely it's Aegis Slash simply is a good thing to say. We have a lot of new faces. Like we have JTK there. We have I don't know everybody who's new faces because I'm new to the league myself. We have a lot of new people joining in here. We also have our promotees in Namdu, and we have Clash of Max joining into the division. Overall, I think Aegis Slash is Aegis Slash. It's Aegis Slash. We have our Dictator Overlord, the Almighty Orange, joining back to the league, and then going 1-4 -12, of course. We currently in our top positions, as it has already been mentioned, we have we have Nilla, Raccoon, and Orin, and that's pretty good seeing that there. I know that Raccoon's definitely one of the top players in the server. I know Nilla's very good as well. I know Orin is very, very good. A lot of people there in the top percentage are all very good coaches that I know are some of the top coaches even in the server. I will say yes, once again, it is more a surprise to see Prison so low at 11th when even though he's not the best at drafting, and if you see any of the other teams, you would probably think he's a very bad player. But because of how good he is, he's usually able to keep a season, even winning finals last season. It's definitely seems to see him that far down. And we have some returning coach in Amarillo coming back to the league after not relegating with a 1-point team one year. I was not there for that, but I have heard about that. Dragapult went 0-3 with one coach until he dropped, and it got picked up by another person, and now it's in the kill leaderboard. And then yeah, the Serena thing. I think we do need to talk about that because Serena making it to the kill is absolutely insane. Orn just clicked rapid spin with that thing, and then did something. Just clicked power whip or whatever he was clicking, power whip chop. I can't even remember what that thing gets. It was pretty funny to see all that stuff happen. And of course, we saw Nilla get wrecked by Cartana, as always. That's really all I have to say on AG. There isn't really a lot to say on AG, at least in my position, because I don't know much about a lot of the AG coaches. But heading into Double A is a division Double A is the middle division, and I feel like it's honestly really holding itself down as a middle division. there is a lot of talent there, as you can see. A lot of people who usually, if they can improve on a few things, they can promote and be really top players. I think another thing that when you start seeing it in Double and Honedge more than you see in H Slash, but TC is more so doing what it was made to do, which is raise unknown players, players who aren't nearly known as much and haven't been able to make a lot of the bigger leagues. Is to raise them up, start getting some attention drawn to them, and get them into those bigger leagues. I think a lot of that can really be seen with Double A. Of course, in our top three, we have T. Geiler, which, as I said, should have been an AG. I definitely agree that he could have been an AG. We have Flip as well, holding it down at number 2 spot, and then we have Pineapple, of course, number 3. Uh, it's another one. It's a big example of Flanders Incarnate is overpowered because as we're seeing, the Lando I teams are doing very well in all 3 divisions actually. It's a big example of that Lando I is overpowered, but we can get to that later. I'm looking at some of this. As I said, Jaren, of course, is very surprising to see down there so low, and he has that much talent. To see him down so low, see something hasn't clicked from this season. It could be something wrong with his team. It could just be a little thing wrong with his playing. But if he can get everything straight, and he can get something to click with his team, something to click with his playing, he can definitely move up there a bit. Lucifer holding down his own is very good. Being able to see that after promoting out of Honedge into Double A, it's definitely a big gap when you're promoting like that. From Honedge to Double A is definitely a much bigger. I think it's probably the biggest skill gap. I don't think the skill gap between Double A to AG is nearly as big. So seeing Lucifer still holding himself down in a decent position to make playoffs and out of relegation range, which is a very big thing here. Looking at some other people who are doing very good here, we have Brayden, who, as people have said, is very consistent with how he's been playing, as I've been watching. We as we've been saying, Brady's been very consistent in his playing. Rolex has been playing pretty good. The game Rolex against Flip, a lot of things went wrong there. Flip miss EV'd his Absol. There were some para hacks going on throughout the entire game. But overall, like the standings look like how they should look here. I think, well, almost how they should look. There's also like a few things wrong here. But I feel like everybody here kind of has a shot. I still see a lot of talent in Double. Even our Bob the coaches in Pond and Dom, I still see the talent there in them. I see that if they can get something to help them with issues that are currently going on, I definitely think that they have the talent, and I think that they just need somebody to help them. Like if an AG coach were to go and help them learn everything, I feel like really they could easily become some of the better coaches because I genuinely think that everyone has the talent, but some people just need somebody to help bring that talent out in them. And I think that's really necessary here. So now we're going on into Honedge. Yep, the best division, my division. Um, a lot of unknown faces here in Honedge. That's one thing I'll say. There's immediately some shockers the very second look at the standings. Carl, somebody did so well last season, is now more towards the bottom, out of playoff range and at 11th. We have Flint, who she played in the off season and went 1-4, not 1-4, 4-1 in the off season. And then ends up being actually dead last year in Honedge. It's honestly something that pretty surprising. Seeing a few other things, definitely seeing Kurtak, somebody who's pretty unknown heading into this. I was somebody who knew him pretty decently. Definitely did not expect him to be holding it down at number 2. We of course have Metal there, another Lando Y team. As I said, Lando Y is surely overpowered. We have Raccoon held it down number 1 for a while. Now they're taken by Nilla. And then T Guy is at number 1 in Double A, and Metal's at number 1 in Honedge. We have some really busted teams down here in Honedge. I'm gonna read off one of these teams to you. I'm gonna read off one of these teams to you guys. It's a crime. Urshifu, Single Strike, Zapdos, Spectrier, Dragalogy, Mega Steelix, Mew, Tangela, Primarina, Talonflame, Paragon. It gets worse. We had like round 2 Tornado Styrian. We had like what is that, like round 5 Zygarde. There was some really fun stuff that we saw in there in the draft. If you don't have a broken team in Honedge, you're not doing well. And then talking about, I think it's fair to talk about my season a bit here because I am a Honedge coach here. I'm 1-4 minus 12, holding it down at number 14. Barely out of being relegated to the Spectator division. Not want to be relegated to there, so we're gonna try to keep doing this. Barely won against SKZ, I'll say that for sure. Was kind of a choke on his end, but we can talk about stuff later. My season's been going okay, I guess. It started in a really a really weird position. I lost 5-0. I lost by 5 to talks because I let my ground type die against a Regieleki. I lost week 2 to Herb because Herb is just a go, okay? If you're not an Herb fan, I don't know what you're doing. And then we have like, and then week 3, I'm still calling the hacks, okay? I don't care what people say. The crit mattered. The crit mattered. Week 4, won. Week 5, had a very good game against Carl. Another surprise, or I actually just noticed this on the standings, but a big surprise to me is seeing Ace Jake at 8th place. I know it's not necessarily a bad place, but Ace Jake has a lot of talent. Like, probably one of the most talented Honedge coaches in the division. I definitely think that, him being so low is kind of a shocker because he could definitely be up there. He has the talent to be up there, and seeing how he's been playing, we can see that he can be up there. Another thing I'm seeing is that Schmite, I honestly expected Schmite to be number 1 in the division. I'm not even gonna lie. Knowing how much I did about Schmite, I honestly expected them to be in Double A. So kind of seeing them in Honedge and on the number 4 spot was honestly a little bit shocking for me. In our Killia race here, we made the Anti Mega Man Champ on top of Coco. I have Mega Mawile and Kiram, and Mega Mawile will be 10th in the race for kill leads because I'm just bad sometimes. I use Mega Mawile. I finally got killed last game. Anyway, overall, I think that's pretty much all I really have to say on here. I think that TC is doing a very good job at doing what it's meant to do. There's a lot of unknown people in here, people coming from lower leagues, people coming from like smaller leagues and never making it to bigger leagues. I think like TC is doing a very good job at that. It's helping to raise them up, and it's going to help catch some attention to them with better replays, with any server owners that are watching these games. They could see everything. I feel like it's really giving some exposure who otherwise wouldn't have got said exposure. So like, very, very good job about TC. I really appreciate and I really support and respect what Orange is doing with everything here. That's all I have. So, whatever we're talking about next, oh yeah, we do call it Speedo as well. Whatever we're talking about next, go ahead, take it away, TNT or whatever. I don't know who goes next.
All right, I'm gonna be going next, just because. So SKZ is not here. You know what I do when something didn't happen that was supposed to. So guys, do you want logistics or Enrico Dandolo? Voice vote right now.
Yes.
We have both.
Both? Ooh, both?
We all
Ooh.
want Crusade.
Alright, I'll do both. So what should I start with? Logistics or the Giga Chad himself?
Giga Chad.
Alright, so Enrico Dandolo, I talked about him in my last video. He was the leader of Venice at the time of the Fourth Crusade. The dude was 90. Keep that in mind. So the dude was 90, and he goes on the military expedition with his country. And during the sacking of Constantinople, he is the first person to make landfall. He literally led the charge into the city with his ship, landed, beat all of his soldiers to the beachhead, and stood on it. And his entire army was so embarrassed that they unloaded faster. He also was a really smart dude. He would, A, title Doge, amazing. B, he was an incredibly smart guy. He was able to work the Fourth Crusade around totally to his benefit. He was the one who got them to sack Zara, which was in the Adriatic Sea, and it was an ex-Venetian outpost that had been taken by the Kingdom of Hungary, which was also Christian, and he had persuaded the Crusaders to, instead of taking on their debt and paying it off in a different way, one way for them to pay it off was through the proceeds from just sacking Venice's enemies down the Adriatic Sea on the way to Constantinople, Istanbul, whatever you want to call it. That city has had so many names. Anyway, this is where the logistics come in. So the Crusaders rented out, or the Pope more accurately, despite having excommunicated Venice already. And the Pope says, hey, Venice, we need transit to Acre, which is a city in modern, I'm not sure which country it's in, but it's in the Israel region, the Levant area. And their plan was to go from Acre and then go down into the Nile River Delta, take Egypt, because they had a current treaty with the Muslim leader that expired in a couple of years. So their plan was to set up a base because Egypt was rich in grains and other supplies, and they were going to use that as their base of operations. Instead of shipping everything from Italy and Europe, they were just going to ship things much closer from Egypt and use that as their way to reconquer the Holy Land. And this actually worked to an extent because some people didn't go to Venice. So the way Crusaders worked is they all funded themselves, and as such, their organization was terrible. So all in all, the Crusaders went to a multitude of different Italian ports. The Pope had planned. Sorry, I can't English. The Pope had planned for everyone to go to Venice and sail off on their ships. And all these ships had to be specifically built for the Crusaders. So when the Crusaders showed up, I'm going to check my number for a second. I think it's a third. Am I right? Let's see. We have... Let's see. Yeah, so the Venetians, they supplied the ships, and they made a massive profit. So Venice basically managed to screw over literally everyone else involved. With their ships, they had a massive debt. I believe only around a third to half. I can't find the exact number right now. Sorry about that. Only around a third to half of the ships were actually used, but the Crusaders still had to pay the full bill because the preparations had been made in advance. So Dandaloo uses this and is like, okay, so you're going to go where we want, not where you want. So he basically uses the Crusade as a mercenary army all the way down the Adriatic Sea. And then when he gets to Constantinople and there's a whole mess in Constantinople, he lands first. His troops break the city first. There was only one casualty during the final taking of Constantinople after the horn fell. That was a crusader got too excited and overran his horse and fell into a hole. That was it. The final taking of the city, the only guy who died got overzealous and ran into a hole. That wasn't even a trap, it was just a hole. And yes, it is an in real life Honish moment. So it's like watching Scorpion play Pokemon. But they go in, they do some funny things with the government, and in the end, the Crusaders and the Venetians have to create a new government in Constantinople. So what they do is everybody puts up nominees, and nobody wants to get each other's nominee, but the Enrico Dandaloo and the Venetians just casually are like, okay, so this is our guy. And then they all vote for the same guy. Seems basic, right? Guess what the Crusaders didn't do? All vote for the same guy. For some reason, they couldn't agree on a nominee. And they just voted for different people. And so the Venetians were able to just slide in and put in a puppet king in Constantinople. The Byzantines wouldn't last too long after this. They would end up getting absolutely gobsmacked by the sultanates and such at a later date, partially because they were weakened by their Fourth Crusade. And all of this was because the guy that they had originally picked up at Zara, so it's like the Byzantine king who they tried to pick up and then failed was a hitchhiker. They picked him up at Zara, they brought him down to Constantinople, put him in charge. See, he promised them a ton of money. But both he and them didn't know that the Byzantine Empire was broke. So as a result, no money, no power, and for some reason Venice is able to just put a puppet in Constantinople, take over a quarter of the city, and of course kick out Genoa because they don't like Genoa. And I'll leave it at that, so I still have more to talk about next time I talk about the Crusades. So now we're going to go into... Yes, Byzantines are trolling, their treasurer is trolling, and the Crusaders are throwing. And that's it. And now we're going to go into discussing everything that we just heard. Crusades are not off limits, but I would prefer if we spent some time discussing the league, because that's why people are watching. Unless, of course, Listen, if you guys set up a poll and ask if more people want Crusades or the League, if more votes get Crusades, I will do a Crusade video every week instead of the League. Alright, you all can unmute yourselves.
Very, very, very good.
Got called out.
Scorpio called everyone else out though. It's fine.
Yeah, that's
Did I really call everyone out? I was just talking the way I normally do.
Yeah, you called everybody out. I figured if you were willing to call people out like that, you were willing to take a hit.
Yeah, true. I think we got four. I think we got Orange is obviously 1-4. We got Nilla Troll got rolled by Cart, Flip Missy beat, and TG undefeated by Broken Lando.
The only one who didn't troll was like me and JK, I think.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with mentioning that throughout this. You understand how pissed.
You know what's good? You know what's good to talk about? You know what would be good to talk about right now? Let's talk about Aegislash's, I guess you'd call it a Dragapult epidemic.
Oh god.
It's not a Dragapult epidemic, it's a Dragapult choke fest.
So.
it's time
But,
to stand
however,
up.
there's one ultimate choker.
I
There's
would
one
love
ultimate.
Trevor. The ultimate
Trevor.
clown.
Trevor. Okay, I'm gonna.
Nilla, now is the
Read
time.
off this meme Nilla made. Nilla, go ahead and read off your meme.
Alright, I've created a scheme.
Wait 1 second. I'm gonna scroll up so I can show it in the.
Oh, please, it's pinned.
It's pinned. Sweet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's been beautiful.
We did.
Alright, so you see, the first thing that happened, Trash Talks AG goes 0-3 with Bull, tries to timer stall Mac, complains, refuses to elaborate further, leaves. And that is the entire simplified history of Trevor.
Trevor and
Dragon
TEC.
on the timer stall Max. In a game against Clash of Max, he just turned timer on randomly. And the rules of TEC are, for timer to be on, both coaches have to agree.
Or a coach and a staff.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to have permission to turn that thing on. Oh yeah, and also,
Yeah.
directly afterward, JK, that line was beautiful.
What?
I'll take Trevor for 400.
I'll take Trevor. Yeah, we'll take Trevor for 400.
That's funny.
Okay.
Because I'm in there
Have you
reading.
seen Jeopardy?
Oh, weird.
I have not watched Jeopardy.
See, that's the problem.
It's a great reference. I'll take Trevor for.
Jeopardy is a great show.
It's
It
amazing.
is a great show.
Go show.
Sad Trebek though. It was better with Trebek.
R.I.P. It was. It's even better that they made a whole YouTube video about Trevor, a UCL coach of the Chico Chestnuts,
Yep.
is gonna go in there and destroy TEC.
Oh, they did that? I didn't see that video. What?
Wait, did you still do
Right,
that?
can you link that?
They did that,
I
yeah.
always watch. I watched.
Alright, guys, we need to link it for the content.
Because
Yeah, link it.
Noob's pretty fun to listen
So
to.
the first thing I did after they did that is I went in the comments that this aged well low.
Alright,
They say
no,
they
link
got
it.
it?
Link it. We gotta watch this.
No, they just liked it. Nice.
Alright, so link it because we need to react to this.
See,
We
I-
need to
I-
react to
I-
this.
Let's go.
I'm subscribed to the UCL channel. Let me see if I can find it.
I'm not. I don't know
Imagine
if you see all this.
subscribing to UCL.
Unleak.
Okay.
I didn't even know that league existed. I can't lie.
Is Noob? He's actually really fun to listen to.
Don't know who that is.
There you go, Pokemon Crafter. The guy who talks. Alex Grimes the second, the king. Listen to that.
Yo, link it. Link it.
Where did you say? I can't find a video about it.
Trolling.
Trolling. JK, do you have a link, or does anybody have a link to that? Because if we can't show this, it's kind of sad because this would be great content.
Got it.
The UCL versus every other league.
Got it.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
that one.
All right, boys. Watch party time.
What part is it?
Wait, are we streaming it? Or
I will stream it.
This age girl. Oh yeah, JK.
Is it at the end? Got it.
Yo.
Oh, JK stream, Pog JK stream. Oh. This is the content I subscribe for.
No. Okay.
JK stream.
To the UCL Pokemon. Already cringe.
Ew.
Out.
I think it's fun to listen to.
What am I listening to?
It's fun to blow out your eardrums, I guess.
Yeah, he blows out your eardrums.
67 views. Hey, I get just as many views just from TEC. Let's go.
So, and if you haven't been paying attention or haven't been around, the UCL has run across a trainer named Ace Trainer Orange who has invited us to a larger Pokemon Draft League community. However, we are not like there. Some members have even been banned for toxicity, banned for telling the truth, calling out bad judgment, bad plays.
Is that where true prison would be banned?
Big Bucks is banned for a good reason. I don't think.
Oh, it's these people. I remember when them.
Yeah, the Good Morning Clan.
Yeah.
So I still kind of salty about Big Bucks, but I think that's still just. I think that's justified.
I always wondered why they just randomly joined them. Sorry.
Yes. Prison.
Prison. Yeah,
Prison.
never wrong. Prison never wrong. See, I told you that man's a main character. He's never wrong.
They literally look and say,
Yeah, Charter did not destroy.
Chico Chestnuts, CL,
Bruh.
make their way to the TEC and destroy them.
Oh,
Aged beautifully.
Trevor just clown.
Oh,
Trevor joined the highest division to clown, left, and then just left. Like we're better off with unknown than we are with him.
Yeah, they went out so embarrassing.
that's rough.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's an L. That's a lifetime L.
The fact that
Yeah,
that's going to be on
that's
YouTube
amazing.
forever, too.
Yeah, amazing.
Also, how was that guy fun to listen to? All he did was give me, like, secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun to listen to.
Also, Go Prison being toxic, calling it out before it even happened. Man, it's so wrong.
Nah,
I swear, Prison is the only person...
Harold can take care of it, and I never understood who he was
See,
talking about.
Yeah, now, see, here's the thing, right? So Prison is the one person in TEC who could pull that crap and get away with it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, well, actually, yeah. Yeah.
Orange,
I can do it.
The only
Orange
non-staff.
got mad at
The
Will.
only non-staff. I don't think even I could pull that crap and get away with it. I think Orange would kick me so fast.
Didn't Orange get like a little bit mad at Wilkes for the way he reacted to the game against Flip or something like that?
Orange gets a little mad at everyone.
Yeah.
So something I think I remember hearing something from him during in WC.
I don't remember that particular instance. I just know that Orange is very scary when he's on sugar.
That's true. And what an excellent segue. What an excellent
Okay,
segue.
Lando I should have never allowed. I know I being allowed is kind of stupid.
Lando I being allowed is fine. Alright, debate
It's
time.
so fun. I'm not biased at all.
I know TG thinks it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. It hasn't carried me that much, I think.
So, there's this
See,
thing with Lando I. It's called, it only does one thing, but it's very good at one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
like, it's easy to prep
Yeah,
for.
I like Pokemon like that.
I do just click Earth
It
Power.
spams Earth Power.
Yeah.
It spams Earth Power until it hits a flying
Taser,
type, then it hits Sludge Wave or something.
Exactly.
Imagine not
It's very
not like-
one-dimensional, so you can prep for it. You just need to think about it.
It's like Shifu
About
Single.
that
It's just a two-code machine.
Lando I, okay, Lando I is special
You
Shifu
gotta
Single.
be there.
Yeah. I can get behind that.
Death Panda.
That's
You think?
What's the most button go clickmon in your opinion? Like top 3 button go clickmon.
Fish. That game.
I don't think I've
Rillaboom.
I don't think I've clicked a move other than Southern Fishes ran this season. Go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine drafting Dracovish.
Honestly,
It's kind of cringe.
I mean, it ran the table in Curlia back when it was still Curlia. But that was also because Pulsey was Div 2.
Yeah.
But didn't she get a ban for a bit?
Yes.
Yeah, that was an overreaction. Pulsey was just better than us.
You see. Dracovish I haven't used in so long because banned and everything else. It's just fun.
I wonder why
Just watching
Dracovish is
it
banned
click
everywhere.
buttons and- tear
I mean,
through
Rain
resist.
is cringe.
All it does is click rend or meteor beam.
Gets 1.5 boosted strong draw, and then the double, and then half the time it's run with rain, and your switches just don't exist.
You get the rain.
You don't need to switch in. You have 5 sacks.
Strong jaw. I mean, yeah, Mega Slowbro can't switch in. Mega Slowbro can't switch in the Bandit Drake Condition Rain. So
Grottle can switch in. If Grottle can switch in, it shouldn't be banned.
Grotto's go.
Grotto's the best mod.
Grotto's is built different.
Nah, you said Thwacky wrong.
Thwacky
But Thwacky isn't switching into banded rend.
TNT. In the league, I drafted Vanapede, TGB. I used a physically defensive Vanapede to counter an opposing Thwacky. It didn't even bring Thwacky. It was against Iron Quacker. It didn't even bring Thwacky.
Listen, I've used Venipede to 1v1 a whole Infernape, so
How
get
does
good.
that work?
Vanapede is a tab.
So the opponent forgets to bring Mach Punch,
Right?
and then you click Endeavor, and then you use
Oh,
Speed
I-
Boost.
Oh snap!
nothing's a switching.
Vanapede is a Chad.
Yes, it
it's so much
is.
of a Chad that I got kicked out of Chad for being more a Chad than Chad.
Do not-
That's for you.
Bruh.
Please don't read the full copy
Do
pasta.
not read a copy pasta.
Not read it.
Side note, I wrote that copy pasta, and I kind of hate it. But
But
it's a fine copy pasta. I just don't agree with reading copy pastas on YouTube. I'll just show it on my screen. If people want to read it, they'll read it.
Wait, you wrote this?
Yes, I wrote this when I drafted Venipede.
Oh.
I don't know. There's no reason to even have a season.
Yeah, I was trolling
About
hard.
the talking points.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to be talking about Pokemon.
My dad was
Oh,
trying.
snap.
I forgot.
I don't think you actually expect this recording to go well.
I didn't expect it to go well. I expected it to be entertaining. There's a difference.
But I think it's been entertaining.
Not gonna lie, during the monologues, I had to hop in and play some Ranbats to give people something to look at.
That's funny.
That might work.
I mean, I
Should we
went.
talk about the talking points though?
All right, talking points.
Yeah.
So we talked
We
about.
got to Lando Eye.
We talked about. Yeah, we got to Lando Eye.
Yeah.
Okay, what's been the haxiest Pokemon thus far?
TG's Blastoise is.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think so.
TG's Blastoise is getting everything it can.
Week
Yeah, I
one.
could agree with that.
Show that week 1 game. Water Pulse.
That your room
Using.
That your room loss does
Hitting
not count.
instantly. Dark Pulse flinches. Dodging everything in
He
existence.
missed like 3 blizzards and like 4 focus blasts. It was kind of.
It's not luck, it's skill. Agency.
It is skill.
All skill.
Skill. That
And it
Mega
confused
Twist.
it confused my
Scissor.
Scissor and it hit
Yep.
itself.
Skill.
First turn. First turn.
I mean, I'm still gonna say that my Legacy got hacked pretty bad since it got crit and split F drop when it needed to live.
You switched it in for no reason.
Nope, would have healed up. It lived.
Scorp is the type of person to switch in a Mega Medi on Scald and complain about getting burned.
Oh, I do that all the time. I switch in physical attackers on Skull.
Oh.
I did it too many times. I keep switching in my Urshifu Rapid on Skulls, and I have not gotten burned once yet. I switched in on 3 Skulls.
That means you're
switched in
due.
on 1 Flamethrower. Didn't get
Never
burned once.
punished.
All skill.
Never punished.
Never punished.
Never punished.
So yeah, I am the type of person to do that.
You're just gonna swap in your
But also,
Shifu
I've been-
single into like a Vaporeon Scald and be like, oh, why did it burn? Hacks.
I used Urshifu single. It sucked. It didn't do anything.
Dude,
And I had
it's the best
with
breaker in the
Mega
game.
Genasi
That's a
and
gap.
Latios.
That's a you problem.
That's a gap. Moving on the trades. Moving on the trades.
That's a you problem.
Oh, let's talk about trades. Just let's talk about these.
Oh god.
Anything
Yeah.
Prison does is gonna be weird, but he's a main character.
Yeah, it's fine.
True.
Yeah,
it all works out in the end.
Nilla out here riding, just robbing people.
I think we should
Yeah,
talk about
Nilla.
Orange's, should we talk about Orange's Dragapult trade?
That wasn't an approved
Guys,
trade.
I'll talk about-
Tot too.
Brace pussy.
Orange traded Victini for Salazzle.
No, listen.
His midlife
Listen, what
crisis, he
happened
needed to
was-
go back to stall. He didn't know how to play without stall.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
What happened was
Victini is too offensive.
Prison needed Mons, so he wanted my Heatran, so I gave him my Heatran some stuff. And then I got the stuff he gave me, Orange wanted, so I gave Orange the stuff Prison gave me for Victini, and now I have Victini and Hoopa and Garchomp on the same team.
Yes.
It's a
Disgusting.
weird Pokemon. I'm gonna say Hoopa is a weird Pokemon.
Now
It's good.
Prison's watch. Now
I don't really know what it does too much, but I never see it get drafted.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll figure it out.
Hey, who wants to see Orange try to run bulky sub Salazzle?
Please.
He will.
He will. Yeah, he definitely will.
No, like no speed.
Did he run it against BTK?
He didn't run max
no,
HP,
no,
max defense,
It was
min
wasn't
speed.
Oh, big. Oh wow, Kartana got 3 kills against him.
Prison's fire resist.
Say the K word.
Or Shifu Rapid.
Don't say the K word around me.
I can't say Kartana.
No.
No, it triggers vanilla.
All right.
Whenever I hear that word, I start pooping myself aggressively.
Well, the way I see it, that Shifu, the worst Shifu that Prison has is only good because Prison has it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Urshifu Rapid
For
is
armor.
actually goaded.
No, it's not.
Also, we can't gloss
Rapid
over.
strike.
Oh,
That see how much damage.
Rapid
That's
Strike's
actually
okay.
really good damage.
It's just helm bait. It's just use helmet and let me
Let's
get
go
chipped.
get good and run
Helmet.
pads.
Nah,
protective pads.
knockoff, done.
It's just weak.
I will
But it still
forever.
hits pretty hard.
No, it doesn't.
I will forever love Jam. I will forever love Jam for dropping Zygarde for literally no reason.
I know, and then you grabbed it.
And I made my worst team slightly not as bad.
And then Zygarde put in
So
work.
what happened with your original team? What was
So-
the choke of grabbing Mega Venusaur instead of Tangrowth? I
That
saw
was
your video.
massive choke. Massive
What was
choke.
that choke?
Huge choke. On a Zero Aura team, you need ground resists. And my grass type, which is one of your most important ground resist, was my grass type was neutral to ground, which is a fat L.
On a
And
Zero
pivot
Aura
team,
team,
having
your
a-
best bet is to drop
Yeah.
Zero Aura.
Hey.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do I need to bring up the Dragapult versus Zero Aura record? I will do it.
Do I need to bring up the
Zero
Magikarp
Aura
calc?
is an unmon.
I will do it.
I don't know if everybody's seen. Have you guys seen the video I posted of memes and images? If you
Yes,
haven't,
I see
watch
it.
it.
I have
Freaking
that shit.
Magikarp tanks.
But yeah, so that was actually massive.
I'll post it, I'll
After I
post it right
threw.
here so you can watch it.
So I didn't get Tangrowth on a pivot team, which would have been absolutely dope. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You got Tangela.
I have Tangela now. Tangela's a goat. But yeah, Zygarde's crazy. Definitely helped the team. Some of my team's worse now, but because I had to get rid of Greninja, which was kind of ass.
Mega Absol surprising for sure. That's not.
But like
making
no more Greninja is bad.
Mega
I miss my
Absol is
Greninja.
good if you don't expect anything of it. If you expect it to do what it's
Yeah.
actually supposed to, then it's going to be trash.
No, I'm not expecting too much of it.
Expect nothing. It'll die.
That he's a knockout. He's turned Sucker Punch Revenger, but not much else
It's
than that.
literally, yeah,
I've just been
it's
using
not
it as a
KO,
speed
OKOing anything.
Scorp, this isn't memes channel.
Yeah, care.
Oh, you know
Why
what
is
we
there
could
a
talk
cow
about? You know what we could talk
against
about? We could talk about top 4 in playoffs for each division. That could be interesting. We
Ooh.
make calls.
All right.
How does that work?
Do not bet on me.
I don't really know. This is my
So-
first season here, so
Well, TG is winning Doublade.
Yeah, TG just wins Doublade. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think he wins Doublade.
Metal is winning
The only
Honedge.
thing he doesn't is if he chokes. Yeah, he has a
yeah, I'll choke. Choke.
I think that.
Or maybe the hacks will come back to
So
bite.
I'm gonna
That's
call
like it,
for. I'm gonna start with Asia Slash. I actually think Asia Slash is kind of tough. I'm gonna call Prison winning Asia Slash just because the dude is the luckiest piece
just
of
makes sense.
crap I have ever.
Do we know
I
what his
bet
predictions
actually-
are right now?
I bet on
How many
Orange
games
to
he
win.
played?
To win.
He's 2-2, but he's a main character. He could be the 8th seed, and he'll find a way to end up in finals and win. And if it's not him, it's
No,
gonna be
he's predicted-
Orange.
He's predicted 22 out of 24 months.
He won
Wow.
last year because Mav
Holy.
choked against him.
That is true.
Yeah, but stuff like that just
Literally not
happens
that.
for Prison.
Yeah, plot armor. We've talked about this before.
Yeah. So Prison's
If you
winning.
been in one of our calls, go to one of our calls during a prison game.
All right,
and you'll
so
see how much.
here's the call, right? Prison will win Asia Slash unless Orn wins, and those two will definitely meet in playoffs. That's my prediction.
Okay.
I think Orange's gonna win the whole thing.
I want Nilla to win. Old friend.
We want Nilla to win,
Bro,
but it's
like,
not gonna happen.
Hopeful.
It's not gonna happen.
Nah, Nilla, you got this. I believe.
Listen,
Nilla can definitely top 4 though.
That's okay.
Yeah, no
I
one's
can
top
see
four
that.
for sure.
No one wants to play him.
Jake versus
I definitely
finals.
think
Yo,
Nilla makes the
Jake
semis.
comes in, just slash.
I don't
Ooh,
know if on Nilla,
Jake,
but
that's a
I
hot
definitely
take.
think he makes it to at least semis.
What are the chances that all 3 land or I teams win?
Fairly
that'd be
high.
hilarious.
Honestly, my bet's on Kurtzback to win Hone Edge, so I'm not really going much for that.
Well, for Honedge, I
Rooting
think
for
it's
Laz
probably
because
going to be
Laz has Quag.
Metal or
That's it.
Schmite. As much as I like Kurthwak, I think that Metal and Schmite just have the teams that can beat Kurthwak.
I don't have any bets myself because I'm probably not even making playoffs.
Dude,
My season started too bad. For me to
I
make
would,
playoffs.
you know what I would say? I would say drop everything and pick up Mega Pidgeot because it worked for me, but unfortunately Mega Pidgeot's picked up in your div.
But with
Too
these,
late
I have
now.
Mega Mawile. I have Mega Mawile and I'm 14th. I have a
Unmon.
major skill issue.
Unmon.
Yeah.
Switch out Mega Mawile for an Unga Bunga Button Go Click Mon.
Mega Mawile is I'm literally sitting here playing Legends.
I just beat Maylene yesterday in BDSP, so I need to beat that.
Alright, thank you all for watching, and I will see you on my weekly recap.